we're here to put a spotlight on positive things happening in the community and developing that positive mindset in your noggin. So, I am your host, Jacob New, and as always, we love to start every show with a dad joke. So, without any further ado, I was talking with my son the other day. He comes up to me and he says, "Can I have a bookmark?" I just started crying. 12 years and he still doesn't know my name's Steve. Get
Really?
it? Can I have a bookmark?
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Oh,
That's a good one.
I love those. Oh, I can never get enough.
No, those are the jokes that come off the Laffy Taffy.
Exactly. Those are. I got the candies just for the jokes.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
So we are very fortunate to have with us Miss Shawana Carter from Carter's House with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
And it's our pleasure, and I'm so excited to hear about what it is that y'all are doing with Carter's House. So what exactly is Carter's House?
So Carter's House is a clothing bank for children and teens. We provide anything outerwear that children need. We serve children from ages newborn to 18. And we provide everything from diapers and baby formula, baby wipes, to jeans, t-shirts, underwear and socks, regular clothes, coats. But our highest demanded item year-round, we provide school uniforms to children. We are also in the process of starting our second session of our parent support group, which we realized was a need, and we started that last session right in the middle of COVID. Yeah, I did that. The whole thing.
That's bold. That's very bold.
Yeah, I was prepared for in-person classes, and then I had to swap it over and learn how to use Zoom.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been interesting. We did it with a partnership through UNT Dallas.
Okay.
They have a program that they're running called Rising Blazers through the state of Texas, and we came in as a vendor, and we offered our parent support group, and so we are currently in discussions for our second session with them. So I'm excited. Yeah, that's
awesome.
A little bit about what. That's just like the tip of the iceberg about what we do. So,
all right. No,
yeah.
I love that. And so, what was your start? Because I know you have both of those, the parent group and the clothing. So where did Carter's House start?
So we initially started when I was about, I'm gonna say about 32, 33. I had a whole moment. My husband and I had separated, got back together. We, at the time, two of our children were in school. We found ourselves financially tapped, and we were living in a motel for about 3 or 4 months. And so my initial thought when I prayed and asked God, what do you want me to do with the rest of my life? Because I didn't want to wait till I was 50 and have to reinvent myself. I was like, let's go and do this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do all that. So my initial plan was to do a transition home, because when my family was going through moving into a shelter or a transitional house meant that I had to put my kids in a district where I didn't want them to go, or I had to live in a neighborhood I didn't want to live in. So, but when I realized how hard it was to get a building and be a landlord, I just really felt like that was not what Jesus said to do.
Yeah.
So I just pushed that to the back, and I started doing clothes. And so we realized there was a need. I talked to a couple of counselors at schools and asked them, like, is this something you guys need? And what we started off with in service was just uniforms for school-age kids, so elementary school. And then I realized that there were older and younger siblings in the house, and they needed it as well. But with the uniforms, it was just because I knew as a parent, when we were going through, the district helped us. That was my way of repaying back that kindness. And so I knew that if I needed help, then somebody else needed help. And so that's kind of where we got started.
I love that. And it's so cool that you saw the need and then you just started working to address it. You didn't really ask for permission. It doesn't sound like.
So I really didn't. So when we started, we were at F.M. Gilbert Elementary in Irving.
Okay.
And so when I met with my board and we decided we were going to give out uniforms, so Jacob, that summer, my daughter was, I think she was a 3rd or 4th grader, and my youngest daughter was on her way to kindergarten. So I had been at the school a couple of years, knew the administrative staff. I literally stalked her principal I found her on every social media platform and sent her a message. I even had a friend at the time who worked at the school. I sent her an email to forward on my behalf twice. So when she came back to work, she called and she's like, Miss Carter, I got all of your messages. And yes, you can give out clothes. It's totally okay. It's like, cool, we ready to go then. So it wasn't really a permission thing. I felt like it was something in our neighborhood. I felt like it was just something I knew that was going to be necessary. I didn't really realize how big the need was when I started, though. I will be honest.
Yeah. How big is the need?
So where we have gone is from doing 20 children in our first year to over 2,000 last year.
Wow.
And that's in 7 years growth. And so it's been an interesting site. We are now officing in South Dallas.
Okay.
And we've been there for the last 4 years. We still work in Irving. We really cover the entire North Texas region. So anybody can get to my office, I will help them. Mm-hmm. We've had families come as far as from McKinney, Little Elm, Waxahachie, Red Oak. They come. We did back to school one year, and we had 5 families come from San Antonio.
Ooh, okay.
So if you can get to me, I'm going to make sure you get what you need. But we realize that the need is a whole lot greater. And it's when you think about clothing, if anybody, take a time and think back when you were a kid, that's the one thing your mama said, oh, can you wait till next week for the new pair of tennis shoes?
Yeah.
It's not like it's a major thing. Like, right, is it a hole in there? Okay, you'll be all right for 2 more weeks. Hold tight. I'll take you that later. So that's one of the things we realized as we grew is that, clothing is the most negotiated item in a family's budget. It's just something that I'm not going to say most people don't prepare for, but for those that are especially in a financial crisis, that's not the top of things on my list. It's not something I'm worried about right now. And so we've begun to realize that it might not be just school uniforms, which is why we went from doing uniforms to regular clothes, then to baby clothes, and then to diapers, and then to baby wipes and baby food, because it's all those things.
Yeah.
When you think about your core needs, your food, clothing, and shelter, all those things have to be done in order for you to be okay. And some people are like, well, clothing isn't is a core need. It's not really, like basic needs. And I'm like, well, walk around naked and tell me how long you make. Just tell me how long you last, okay? Wait till the police roll around the corner. Yeah. Tell me if you don't go to jail. So,
but I wouldn't be able to do my job.
Right, exactly.
They'd be like, indecent exposure, sorry.
Right now, and you can't come back. You cannot come back. So that's just one of those things. And I mean, oftentimes, like even as a mom, for us, when our parents come in and the babies don't have on shorts or T-shirts, I'm like, why aren't they dressed? Well, it's just the baby. No, dress them, because then you'll be fighting with them later when it's time to put on clothes. But that's one of those things we've had to like push through that little barrier to get people to understand that while you will list basic needs, food, clothing, and shelter, when it comes time for us to start looking at funding, people go, oh, it's not a basic need. People can just get that. No. Yeah. Not if they don't have the money, they can't just get that. So anywho, that's we've seen the need grow, and we've changed. Services for us have transitioned over the 7 years from just clothes to clothes and now the support group. And then there's some counseling in there, and we've increased our intake time to make sure we are addressing everything they need. We have some additional resources that we've amassed over the last 7 years that allow us to refer our families where they need to go to get exactly what they need.
So it sounds like you're like addressing like the whole family.
That is the goal. That is the goal. The goal is to make sure that the family is self-sufficient. We realize that when families come see us, by the time somebody calls and says, I cannot afford to buy a pair of shoes, you really don't have anything else. So our conversations used to start off with, okay, so what else do you need?
Yeah.
Because by the time you see us in our office, there's a huge need at that point. Usually by that point, we don't have enough food. And we don't have, the light's about to be cut off, water's about to be cut off. By the time you come in and tell me that, it's major. You need to pay rent, all those things. And so we start breaking it down piece by piece and going through the resources that we have to figure out who can help you get what done. We are very mission driven, so I'm only going to do what I'm supposed to do. I do clothes, period. I can figure out the rest of these pieces from our resource books and our connections and get you the things you need. But what we do is clothes. We just happen to be that go-between to get you where you need to go. But the end goal, Jacob, is always to make sure that the family is whole. So we even ask our parents when they shop with us. On average, our family has 3 children.
Yeah.
And usually when they shop with us, they save about maybe $100 to $150 by coming in there with us, getting the items that we have. And so that's $150 per kid that you just saved. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's $450 for 3
exactly.
kids.
Yeah, you just saved a good little amount. So then we asked them, like, what are you doing with this money? Because you didn't have to spend it on clothes. So what are you gonna do? And most of them give us answers like, I'm gonna pay my light bill. I'm gonna buy groceries this week, or we get to put something on the rent, so we don't have to get put out this month. So it's seeing it grow. It's been very scary, but seeing the families who get their lives changed by coming to see us, or just in the conversations, it's been great. It's been great.
That is amazing, and I can only imagine. I did have a question though. Like, does it take I would imagine people have to kind of like swallow their pride to come sometimes, or is that not the case?
It is. We end up with a lot of. We've had. I have one of my favorite stories is I had a mom who was a friend of mine outside of Carter's house. We met in a totally different space and time, and she found herself unemployed and needed to get clothes for her daughter who started school. So they came by and they got some uniforms and underwear and things of that nature. And the sweet baby girl asked her mama, like, "Can I give her a tip? I got 50 cents." And I was like, "That is the sweetest, but baby, it's okay." But it takes a lot. We have some parents who come in and they just break down and cry and go, like, I just never would have asked.
Yeah.
I never would have asked. And my team of people, we are known to stop. I will stop kids on the street and say, "Hey, you have a hole in your uniform shirt. Come to my office and get a shirt now. You can just take this shirt and go." And one of my volunteers, Miss Felicia, she will ask them, point out, "Do you need something? Because I need you to come on by."
Yeah.
And sometimes they go, "No, we're okay. We're fine." Then you have to just kind of talk real gentle, like, "Look, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm not here to embarrass you. I'm here to help you. And if you need this, then I know you need something else. And we're here to help." And so once they get that reassurance, most of the time they're okay. But it's a measure of pride that has to be swallowed to make a phone call like that. Any parent will tell you to call somebody and say, "I can't clothe my kids." That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. So, I mean, you think about housing, people go, "That's tough too." I'm like, "Nah, because we got to sleep indoors. I'm not sleeping outside. That's just not an option."
No camping?
Right.
No.
She's been asking for years. No, I'm not an outside girl. No. But I mean, when you think about it, like I said, clothing is the most negotiated piece. So I wait on that as long as possible. And when I have to make that phone call, that's tough. So, yeah.
No. So is that kind of where the parent group came in too, or to kind of help? Because it seems like you help with a lot of the emotional needs as well.
Yeah.
So how does the parent group how did that come into effect?
So we found ourselves, at the time it was myself and Miss Felicia, and I have sorry, I turned it off. I promise I did.
It's all right.
He's on my favorites list. Felicia Turner and she's one of my volunteers. She's with me every day. But we were having a lot of parents come in and a lot of counseling going on. And it wasn't like, I'm not a licensed counselor.
Yeah.
I am a 42, almost 43-year-old woman who has raised some children and gone through some things, period. That's all I am. I've experienced some stuff, and I don't mind sharing what happened. And I hope that it guides somebody else to miss that bump in the road and make life easier. And so we found ourselves with a lot of young mothers who have multiple children, but have something on their background and can't move forward past that. We had a lot of middle-aged moms who had issues. We had some dads that came in and we needed help with housing, or they had issues with their background. I don't do all that stuff. I have people I know who I call. So I stay in my lane. I know what to do. But we found out that there was a lot more going on. And I am a huge advocate for mentoring. However, I am a realist, and I realize that if you mentor a child for 45 minutes and then send them home to a house full of chaos for another 23 hours, there has to be a really strong child to fight through that. But if I mentor the parent and the child, then we make some progress. And so that's kind of where we came out of this. We started off with the idea of doing a full-fledged curriculum for our parents. And then I started thinking, and the parents that we were encountering, they had classes for CPS cases and classes for probation and classes for drug abuse and things like that. And it was like, they don't need another class. They need somebody in a place where they can go and they can just say, today was a bad day. Today was tough. Today I didn't want to cook dinner. I love those kids, but I don't like them today. And I mean, and not feel like anybody was going to judge them. And the reality is, of my 4 children, all of them have heard numerous times, I love you a lot, but I do not have to like you. And we are cool about that. We're kind of mutual on that thing. It's cool. I'm your mom. You're not going to always like me. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that we saw. And so I wanted to create a space that was just for support. And so what we do with ours is we have some topics. There are some strategically picked topics that we cover, things on conflict resolution and being honest with your kids, being transparent, them discussing, life changes as your kids transition into, a new age group. How do you celebrate that? Do you feel bad? That kind of stuff. And then also with our parents talking about your past. Some of our parents have had a rough past, and sometimes that's the hardest part, is to be real with yourself, but then also to do it with that little bitty person that you gave birth to. But you have to, because that's the only place they're going to learn. That's where they're supposed to learn how to make it better for themselves. And so we pick some strategic topics, and we go into them with some articles. They have to do a little pre-reading when we come into group. We have a very strict piece that we make sure everybody does, and they have to journal. They have to journal every day, even if the journal, the interest just says, today was great.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Counts.
I want you to write. A lot of times what we have found with the people in our program, and there are men and women, is that they have a hard time expressing themselves. And that can be because of what happened in their childhood or as an adult. But we want them to get used to saying what they feel. And a lot of us ignore our feelings for a long time, me included.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, we do it. And so sometimes it's because we want to save somebody else. Sometimes it's just because we don't know how to say it. And sometimes it's just, I just don't think nobody's listening. So I just don't say anything. And so we want them to learn that this is, getting it out is the most important thing. And I don't care if you put it on paper. I don't care if you scream it to the clouds. I don't care. Somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And so part of our, I guess you would call it a curriculum, is that they must journal. And so that's what we built it out in our Google Classroom. I'm figuring out how to set that up. So I'm gonna figure out how all this thing works. But yeah, so that's a core piece for us for this support group, is so we can get them to learn how to talk to each other, and get them to learn how to talk themselves, and then get them to learn how to talk to each other. The biggest piece of the group, though, is because it's called the village.
I like it.
We want our parents to learn how to build their village. Sometimes a lot of our families have their own set of issues, and sometimes it's not the healthiest family, and the healthiest relationships. And so you want to be able to, it took me a long time. I have a great family. Don't get it twisted. I have some amazing parents, and my siblings, and my brothers, and I have sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws, and I have, I grew up with my godmother in San Antonio, and my village is amazing. I look at my kids and go, man, y'all are sane because they were here. Because if it was just me, we'd have problems. But I think that what I want to create is, I want my families to learn that it's okay if your family is not your village, or if you have to add some pieces to your village. That's totally okay. Let's figure out what you need to make it help people, to put people around you to help you move forward and keep those people in your life.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me. My friends are like the bomb, and I know there are some days when I would not. I promise I turned it off, Jake. I'm gonna have to turn the whole phone off. But I promise that those people are there, and there are days. I always tell people, in the terms of the kids today, it's okay to have friends who are super duper ratchet, and y'all can hang out and do wild stuff. But you got to have those same friends that make you say on Monday morning, "Hey, we kicked it all weekend. Now get up and go to work." Your kids have to have. You got to get up and go. And so those things are important. And so that's part of what we want to make sure our parents learn to build, is that it's okay to say, okay, I can't hang out with these folks all day long because it's not going to be good for me. But I got these people over here that ride with me, and they make sure I'm okay. And so that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. So kind of really helping people realize their, pay attention to, the types of people they're around. And so how do you, help people to figure that out? Because for me, I'm kind of, how do you, well, I already asked the question, because everybody's so different.
So one of the things I always tell people is, I'm not here to teach you how to parent your kids or how to be grown.
Yeah.
You already grown, you figured that part out. What I want you to do is look at things from a different light. I want you to take some time and think about the people who surround you.
Mm-hmm.
If you've surrounded yourself with people who are full of drama or they are full of conflict on every turn, you have to save somebody, that's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask people to take a look at inside themselves and realize, like, how much do you pour out? How much do you pour out into other people? And this was something that somebody had to teach me. Like, well, as much as you pour out, somebody has to pour back into you.
Yeah.
You know, you have to surround yourself with some people who are going to help push you, but also not suck everything out of you. That's not going to work out either.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk to my parents, we talk just like I'm talking to you. I don't make the decision. I ask you to do your pros and cons. I have one right now. She has a list, and we're going to talk about it when I get out of here today. That's what we're going to do. She's worked on a list for 3 days now, and we're going to talk about the situation when I call her this afternoon and this evening, and we're going to go over the pros and cons on which one we're going to pick. But I'm trying to get her to grasp the fact that it is your decision, and it's the one you're going to live with. However, I want you to see all the sides of this coin. I want you to figure out if this person is really any good for you. And so the conversations, they're a little different because when you're a parent, you talk to your kids in a certain manner. Like, you're going to do it. I said do it. I'm not going to ask you again. I told you to do it, period. But when you're another adult, you got to remind, I think sometimes some of our adults have not had a chance to be a kid, and so they're acting out like children. But I need you to remember, I'm sorry, you missed that phase, but you're now grown. So we have to talk like we're adults now. And so that's a lot of what we do in the group is we do a lot of the conversation and pros and cons and weighing the options. And this is another viable option. Consider this one. Not so much me saying, you need to do it this way. Because you can't tell grown people what to do. It doesn't work out well.
I was supposed to. I feel like you get more resistance that way if you approach it there.
And that's what I was feeling when we started this, and I was asking the people who were helping me as we built this out. A lot of them were saying, like, when you go to class, they don't ask my opinion. They just tell me I need to show up in this class, and I don't want to go, and I don't want to do this, and I was like, see, that's not what we want. Now, I will be honest and tell you that it's not always organic per se. Sometimes it is especially for the start of a program. Like right now, a lot of our customers are required to participate in the program. The goal is after you've done it for a while, maybe you'll continue because we only go about 10 weeks in our sessions. And so when we finish, I could make another session, but I'd like for you to choose to say, hey, are you doing another class? I want to participate again.
Yeah.
And so you hope that that's what happens. If it doesn't, then you move on to the next group of people and keep going. And so that's kind of where we are. We're figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and then also how do we make this organic feel grow even more. So we are implementing this session a lot of Zoom calls because we can't see each other face to face just yet.
Yeah.
So we'll do a lot of, we do a weekly check-in. We have some wonderful interns who are our family advocates. And so they do a weekly check-in with our parents after our group session. And then we, kind of figure out if there are any additional needs. We do some goal setting and checking in to make sure goals are met. And I mean, we've done, I've told my family advocates, like, look, it can be as simple if mama says she want to save $5 a week. And you keep pushing her. Like, hey, at the end of the year, you got enough money to buy a couple Christmas gifts or a new pair of tennis shoes for somebody, And for those things for me, while for some people it's not a big deal, if I can get a parent to understand that if you saved, $5 a week, at the end of the year, you got some money in your bank.
Yeah. You
can spend that however you want to. But you're also teaching your kids a lesson. So if you can tough that out for them $5, and it sounds menial, but it's serious for some.
Yeah.
And so, we kind of do a lot of that in our group and try to get people to see what life looks like on the other side.
It like you said, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it does build up over time. And I read the book Compound Effect, and it's kind of one of those things. Have you read it?
No, you're going to need to send me that.
Yeah, it's, I believe, by Darren Hardy.
Okay.
And he does talk about, in the book, he talks about would you take a penny that doubles every day for a month? Or, what was it, $3 million? Right up front.
I think I'm going to take that penny.
Penny is the right choice because at the end, but it is very interesting and it really kind of helped me kind of visualize it because the second day you have 2 pennies. The third day you have 4 pennies. And, you're not seeing like a lot happen at the beginning, but then by the end, you go to like you end up with $5 million or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it ends up paying off in the end when you kind of delay that gratification, but you develop that consistency. And so developing that habit of just saving will take you a long way, I think.
I think you said a lot that instant gratification is a big deal in our society. And so we have so many our young people who see, we can't save money. And so because I spend this money immediately, and it's that, then they grow into this whole thought process, I'm supposed to have it, I want it now. No, kiddo, that's not the way it works. And so I think that that's something else that also works when we do it. When you teach people how to just be patient. It works. I mean, if you think about it, generations past, they were patient. They saved up money so they could afford to buy the house.
But did they have Amazon Prime?
No. They didn't have Prime. They didn't have text messages. They didn't have instant messengers and things like that. So,
and I think that's one of the things that we are battling, though, is that we have this get it at a click, mentality.
It's a tough thing. Where our office is, we have an office in MLK Center in South Dallas, and I have one inside of Park South YMCA, which is about 4 minutes away in South Dallas. And I noticed that about a year ago, about a year ago, I ordered some bins for our storage. We were cleaning up our storage space. And the FedEx guy dropped them off for me, and he goes, "Man, I never come to South Dallas." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I only come here like during the beginning of the year when tax season kicks in because everybody spends all their money buying stuff and having it delivered." I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Really?
He was like, "That's the only time I come over here." He said, "I can always tell when checks start hitting because everybody starts ordering things." And I was like, wow. And then you order everything, and then you forgot to get groceries, or you forgot to get your kids' clothes, and you forgot to pay the light bill or the rent. And that's a big deal, that instant gratification, because I got a little money, and I'm not really concerned about, tomorrow. And, of course, there's a lot of people who feel like tomorrow is just tomorrow. I'll deal with it when it gets here. But I think we have to train our thought processes to realize that, you prepare. Even if you don't prepare for you to wake up for tomorrow, you prepare for your kid to wake up tomorrow. And that's part of being the grown-up. That's part of what that is. So
being a parent, I would imagine, is just a lot of selflessness going. Not one yet, but I think in the near future, maybe.
Go for it.
But
they're lots of fun.
Yeah, we're still in the talking stages. So, so I definitely can see that though, and it takes a lot of patience to help people develop patience.
It's a lot of patience. It does. It definitely does. There are days that are tough. I had one a few weeks ago, and literally everybody who called my phone that afternoon was like, "Are you okay?" I was very broken and beat down, and took a moment to myself and reminded myself. And it's not ever a moment that I think I'm just going to quit, even though I do quit like 50 times a day during back to school season. I will not tell you a story. At least 50 times a day during back to school season. But no, there are days, and then there are customers who come through and they remind you why. They remind you exactly why you decided, why God said do this, and you said, "Okay, cool, I'll go with it. Let's go."
Yeah.
They remind me why I have done this work for 7 years without a paycheck. Because this is my reason. These are the people, and even the ones that make it tough. At the end of the day, even if you don't see it the way I want you to see it, there was a seed planted, and that seed will grow. Whether or not I get a chance to see it grow may not happen, but it will grow. I believe that once we plant the seed, somebody else will come along and water it. But it does take a lot of patience. You want to come hang out in my office? I'll show you how much patience you need.
I'll do it. You want to come hang out in mine too?
Yes.
Deal with 18 kids?
Yeah, no.
All at the same time? No?
No. I got 4 of my own. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And you get to see so many different aspects of people.
Yeah.
What is something that you've learned about people as you've gone and helped people grow? And
I have really learned that, and it was always something I guess I knew. I always had the belief that people are good, and I've always had the belief that people are thankful. Some of them don't know how to express it. I have seen in our office, we have seen a little bit of everything. With the office inside of MLK Center, we encounter a lot of the homeless population because they generally come in the building to hang out, and they don't have any children. They just come by and hang out. But it's given me an opportunity to discuss life with some people who have gone a different route, and ask, how did you get here?
Yeah.
And we've heard stories, all kind of stories. And when you sit down and talk to people, it reminds you that we all get up the same way. And today might be my day that I'm just, a moment away from being just like them. I'm not any better. And we've had some wonderful families come in. I always tell people, don't come in here crying. I don't want your tears today, please, because if you start crying, then I'm gonna start crying, and it's not gonna work out so hot. So, but we've done a lot of celebrations in our office, and we've had moms come in who have come in. I had a mother about 2 years ago. She came in the door, and right as she walked in, her phone went off. And when she answered her phone, Jacob, she looked at it. She checked her email. When she checked her email, she just started crying, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "I just got my housing. We've been living in a shelter for 2 years, and I just got my house." And I was like, "Oh, girl, please, we're going to have a party in here today. Let's do this thing. Let's do this." I was like, "Oh, girl, we're going to shop." And so we've had moms come in, and, it's their kid's birthday, and we don't know it when they walk in the door, but they walk out with so much stuff. They're just like, "We get to have a birthday party.
Yeah.
She gets gifts today." I've actually had a single father of 2, come in our office on a Saturday, so my daughter and I could comb his daughter's hair, because he didn't know how to comb hair. So you see the good parts, you see some rough parts, but you see a lot of the fact that people are genuinely just grateful, and that anybody's life could be yours tomorrow, and you just have to be grateful for what you have. It might not be perfect, it might not be exactly what you want it to be, but it is still what you have, and be grateful for that. It's interesting. We have some really interesting days in our office. It gets pretty cool in there. So.
I love that. And, I love that you just like celebrate people.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of that. It's just focusing on the people, celebrating with them. And
just give somebody. I think sometimes, Jacob, people just looking for somebody just to be happy with me today.
Yeah.
I am a self-proclaimed purposely positive person, and I am a lover of smiles. You can smile at me all day, and I'm gonna smile right back at you. It ain't gonna bother me at all. I think when people hit our door, they just feel the love. That's what I want you to feel. I want you to feel like you walked in here and you felt loved. You felt like somebody cared, and somebody was patient enough to listen. And so those things, I think, that just radiates when people hit that door. They feel it, and I'm excited. I'm happy to know that that's what you feel, and you're comfortable. Where else do you walk in a room, and I've had mamas come in and like literally break down crying, and we have another hour-long counseling session. I didn't know there was anything wrong with you when you came in this door, but by the time you left, you were so overwhelmed and needed to get that off your chest. You felt comfortable enough to sit here and talk to us. Cool, we're gonna sit here and listen. I'm gonna pause the world for a moment, and we're gonna figure out what's going on and how can we help you.
Yeah.
And so I think that compassion and that patience and that listening ear is always going to win when we take time. I think as a society, if we just did those few things, we see a whole different change in people and how people respond to each other.
And by doing that, you also kind of send that message like, hey, you are important.
It's always a good reminder,
yes,
isn't it?
We all need to be reminded.
I mean, you have that when you do it at school, right? So it's always a good reminder. Parents and kids need to be reminded. Yes, you're important, and especially when you're a single parent, male or female, when you've done all the work and you've done all the jobs for the last X amount of years, and nobody, kids don't say thank you. They don't say thank you. Just I'm warning you now. They don't. You think that's gonna happen, but it doesn't. And when they're teenagers, they really don't say thank you. But
it comes later.
It comes later. It does. Yeah. When they get grown and they have even before they have their own children, they already, by the time they're adults, are like, "Oh, I thank you so much."
Yeah.
It makes them feel good. It makes them feel good for somebody to say, "What is going on with you today? How are you today?" I'm not asking about the babies. I'm asking, "How are you?" And it opens them up to say, okay, this is truly how I'm feeling. And we created a space that is safe. In our office, it is a safe space, and you can talk, and you are welcome to say it however you need to get it off your chest. And so, I think it's kind of one of those pieces that makes us different. Yeah.
No, I love it. And one of wow, words right now. Sorry. One of our last kind of questions that I wanted to ask you before we wrap up is, do you have any kind of wisdom, one little piece of wisdom you'd like to leave on people, or like a positive vibe,
Positive
quote,
vibe
or
flow. I think I would ask that everybody take the time to smile at somebody.
I like it.
I mean, it's a big deal to people. You never know what's going on in somebody else's head.
Exactly.
So, I know we're behind masks, y'all, but you can still smile with your eyes.
You can't. And that's what I'm saying. It's
You
like
can smile with
we're
your
paying
eyes.
so much more attention to eyes. Like you can tell, like
Yeah.
when somebody's smiling at you.
You can smile with your
Yeah.
eyes, go hand wave. Just be kind, because
Yeah.
you never know what somebody's going through. So be kind to the next person. If it's a gentle hello, just how you doing, and wait for the answer.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Mhm.
Wait for the answer. Don't ask and walk away.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably all I would leave. I would ask one thing that not necessarily pertaining to that, but I would ask that if any of you guys would like to get involved anywhere, find something that you love and find an organization where you can give back. There are a lot of adults and children who need somebody just to show up and listen. So if you have the time, be a listening ear.
And if somebody wants to get involved with Carter's House, how could they get in contact with you?
They can send me an email to request@cartershouse.org.
Okay.
They can call me at 800-943-8663. You can follow me on social media. Kim is listening. She's our social media manager. You can follow me on social media. We're on Instagram at Carters_House, and Twitter is the same handle. Facebook is Carter's House Inc. And you're welcome. If you want to follow me, you can go to Shawana O. Carter on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram. So you're welcome to reach out. We'll be more than happy to get back with you. If you'd like to donate, my board manager is listening too. You are welcome to go to our website at www.cartershouse.org and make a donation of any amount. No amount is too small. We are actually getting ready for North Texas Giving Day.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
That is in September, and people can choose to give to a charity of their
Correct. It is the
nonprofit of their
largest
choice. Yeah.
donation day. And we think we do 18 hours here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And it is September the 4th Thursday. Is that the 19th? I think it is.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It might be. It
Just
could
go
be.
to the Instagram. I promise I already posted.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and check that out. You can give in any amount. You can. I think we should be getting close to where you can schedule your gift, so you can make that and leave it alone, and we'll just get the money.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't give to us, I just want people to understand. Like I know that people get angry, but even if you don't give to me, give to somebody. There are a lot of worthy organizations in Dallas. There are a lot that you never even realize exist. People doing amazing work for the community. So give somewhere. But if you want to give to me, I would greatly appreciate it. And hey,
Yeah.
I mean, I send you a personalized letter. I talk to you later. All that good stuff. So
I love it.
Definitely do that.
I like the personal touch.
Oh, doesn't it? It does something for you,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It does.
I didn't realize that till I was growing. My mom used to make you write. You get them little gifts. Mom make you write your hand.
Yeah.
Note.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that now.
I'm like, can I just get a stamp? Thank you.
No, it does something for you later. It does something for you. So yeah.
It does.
So definitely, if you can give. If you want to come out and volunteer, listen. I can't afford to pay you, but I will feed you. So come hang out with me.
Okay.
We have lots of fun. I dance. I sing. I do it all. Come on.
I love it. I love it.
Come on out. We have fun. So yeah.
Very nice. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show today.
Absolutely.
And for you listeners out there, if you only learn to do one thing, y'all learn to make a difference. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good night.